This is the place where we can learn and make intelligent decisions to maintain and maximize our health as we age, changing our lifestyle and changing our trajectory of our life so that we can have the life we always wanted to have. Good news is it's never too late. Today we're going to talk about nutrition. We spent the first couple episodes just getting kind of warmed up, and then we talked about how important it is for your longevity and for the quality of your life as you age to start early, number one, with taking care of yourself. And number two, to set a baseline, see where you're at right now. And we talked about genetics and what hand we're dealt from our families. And then we talked about screening tests that we need to do for some of the big things that we worry about and the quality of our aging. And we talked about the importance of exercise, how exercise is the number one longevity drug, and building mass or quality muscle, or just any kind of muscle, just building some muscle and working out with weights is the number one thing we need to be doing. And we need to be on a regular workout routine, add in some aerobics, especially if you're overnourished. And then we looked at, once we have a baseline, then we can measure our progress and see if we need to adjust what we're doing and make any changes. Today we're going to talk about nutrition. Now we could talk for days and days and days about nutrition. You know, everybody wants to just get a diet. Just give me a diet and I'll stick with it, and I'll get in shape for the summer, or I'll get my sugar down a little bit, or the doctor will be happy when I come back, my blood pressure is a little lower. But we kind of tend to look at diet or diets as a temporary fix. What we need to be looking at is our nutrition program as a long-term thing that we do day after day, year after year. Just like we get up out of bed, we brush our teeth day after day, year after year, so that we'll have quality teeth and not have a mouthful of dentures or a mouthful of rotted, broken teeth. And we need to do the same things with all the other aspects of our health. You know, we talked about the four major killers, the four major things that will detract from your lifestyle, and that's cancers, that is cardiac disease, metabolic diseases such as diabetes, fatty liver, and neurologic diseases, Alzheimer's. Now, there's no cure for Alzheimer's, but there's some recent real proof that you can improve or slow down Alzheimer's. There's no medicines that help with Alzheimer's. It's just medicines that treat the symptoms, but nothing that cures or slows down or changes the progression. The main thing I want to get across to you guys is, first of all, don't worry about, am I losing weight on this diet, because we're not dieting. We're looking at our long-term nutrition, our long-term diet program. And what we want to do is, number one, improve the quality of our food. We don't necessarily need to worry about the quantity right now. We can do that later. But we want to worry about the quantity of our food, the quality of our food, and get in a regular routine eating pattern that has better quality foods. And when we talk about better quality foods, we're talking about high quality protein, eating what we call unprocessed carbohydrates, avoiding sugars, and using high quality fats. We don't want to use saturated fats, we want to use unsaturated fats. And we need to just change the quality of what we're eating. And what that's going to mean is putting some things away that we don't want to eat for long-term benefit, and including some things that aren't necessarily the best, but they do make life more enjoyable. You don't want to just not eat and enjoy life. The good news is that if you change your eating habits and change the quality of the food that you're eating, your taste buds actually change over time. They get like 3 weeks. If you change off of sugars, those taste buds will be less on your tongue and taste buds, and they'll actually change to different flavors. So things that you thought were just nasty tasting because they're good for you, but they don't really appeal to your taste buds, that will change over time, and you'll get to where you like the things that you didn't think you would ever enjoy eating. So there's mainly is just not get discouraged and have a plan for what you're doing. Now, there's only about 3 ways to, like if you're either overnourished, which means you need some sort of calorie reduction, or you're undernourished, which means you need more muscle, basically. And you can be overnourished and still be under muscled. So it's the quality of the diet that will affect the composition of whether we're more fat and less muscle, or less fat and more muscle. You got to remember that muscle is a metabolic organ in itself. It's one of the biggest organs in the body, actually, and it burns calories. Fat stores don't burn calories. So the problem with most diets is you lose fat and muscle, but then you tend to gain fat back. And so your metabolic rate goes down and down because you're adding back food, tissue that doesn't use calories instead of, and you're losing the tissues and not replacing them that can burn calories like muscle. So there's 3 ways to do a diet. One is calorie restriction, which means eat less food. And the nice thing about that is you can get an app. There's a lot of apps out online on the App Store to track your calories. And I tell you what, if you're going to use that method, then tracking calories on an app is like almost a must do, because I was in Weight Watchers, and this was driven home to me. Is like if you put 6 or 7 things in a bag while we're sitting here talking, and then you say, okay, name the 6 things I just put in that bag, you'll get 4 or 5 of them, but you won't get all 6. And that's the way it is with our food. If you don't track your food or eat regularly every day, the same things every day, then you will forget about, oh, I ate that donut that Rep brought by today, or oh, I forgot that I ate two helpings, or I got sausage with my eggs this morning instead of just eggs, or I ate a biscuit instead of toast, or things like that, which will make a difference in your calorie counting. And if you're gonna count calories and use an app, you're gonna think twice about eating something when you've already looked at your daily total so far, or you say, geez, I'm gonna have to write this down if I eat it. And I tell you, if you're gonna use a calorie restriction, and then I'm highly suggest an app, because you only lose weight on the days you track. I mean, if you track consistently, then you'll be, it'll help you stay consistent on your food intake and make your diet more successful. The other way to diet is food restriction. What that means is leaving things out of your diet that aren't as healthy for you. Usually that's highly processed, highly refined, things with saturated fats, or processed fats that are oxidative stress on the body. To do that, you just need to replace certain things in your meals. Like in the morning, if you're eating Pop-Tarts, or stop and get a biscuit and at Hardee's or Jack's or somewhere, you're doing that and you're not getting, number one, the protein that you need, and you're getting way more calories that you need. And as a tip, basically, if you're eating out, you're getting way more calories than if you make the same thing at home. If you cook a steak at home and eat a potato with some butter or sour cream, you're getting way less calories than if you get a steak out and get their baked potato that's loaded, and the bread that goes with that, and the butter, and maybe or maybe not get a dessert. The third way is intermittent fasting, and that's just eating less time during the day. You pick a certain amount of time to eat, and you eat during that time. And even with this, you can't just eat whatever you want. You still need to eat quality food on an intermittent fasting. The whole thing about dieting is you want something to put in your body that's going to make your body healthy and make your body grow. Now, if you have a fancy car or a big Ford F-250 or whatever you're driving, you're not going to drive down to the gas station and put kerosene in that car or that truck. It'll run for a while, but it won't run well, and it will gunk things up and you'll be in trouble. So it's the same things with our bodies. And we need to think about our bodies exactly the same way, a high performance vehicle that we need to maximize the efficiency. So, you know, too often we've looked at diet as just food that we eat every day, whatever tastes good, whatever we think we want to eat. And, you know, you get tired of eating the same thing, so you look for something different. And that's not the way you need to have a diet. Your nutrition program needs to be part of your overall health strategy. Just like you go see your physician and get your markers and your screening tests, you need to be on your diet and keeping track of the quality of the food you're eating. There's all kinds of, we could talk for hours about ways to lose weight. But what we're trying to do right now is just get our baseline improved so we're eating well, and then we can worry about adjusting the caloric intake or gaining or losing weight. Some things that work well is the, is it called DEXA where you stand on the scale and it tells you percent of fat and percent of muscle. And that's another track thing to keep track of, especially while you're dieting or changing your nutrition program. Another good thing, especially diabetics, they have access to the Dexcom, the glucose trackers that track your glucose through your subcutaneous tissue and send the numbers to your phone. The medical ones require a prescription, you have to be diabetic to get them paid for, and they are very helpful, especially for diabetics. But there are some over-the-counter ones that you can get off Amazon. They trend your sugars. They may not be 100% accurate, but they will give you the idea of what you need to eat to prevent having big sugar rushes into your body. If you're eating foods that cause big sugar spikes, then you have to surge glucose to take care of that. And if you're not burning that because it's in a big spike, then your body's going to shuffle that into your fat stores, or which are your fat, and some of it will go to muscle that will burn your glycogen in your muscle and liver. But mainly the excess is going to be stored as fat. So the trick is to eat your food in a healthy way that will slow insulin spikes. And one of the ways to do that is to eat better quality food. You're going to eat, put away your just highly processed junk food and eat food that has more fiber, more protein, and it will slow the intake of the spikes of insulin in your diet and improve your overall health and weight. When you talk about carbs and protein and fat, carbohydrates are strictly an energy source. They have no other function really other than for providing energy. And so carbohydrates are something that aren't necessarily something you actually even need in your diet. We enjoy them, but we don't necessarily need them. Fat is a good energy source. You know, when you're losing weight, your body uses your fat. When you restrict your calories, your body is using your fat energy for energy. And so that's why you're losing fat, because you're taking it as a source of energy. And if you look at the Alaskan native Indian population and the extreme climate populations, they live off a lot of fat and protein. They don't eat hardly any carbohydrates because they're just not available. And not saying we should do that, but that's what we need as far as health is protein and fat. Fat is important for some of the hormones in our body, and it's also the lipid layer in all of our cell membranes, and especially in the brain and on the nerves. They have a myelin sheath which is heavily composed of fat. So fat is important to our body. We need it. It's just how much do we actually need of that fat. Protein is the number one food item that we have to have. Protein is essential for all of our body repair, muscle repair, muscle growth. It also, the hormones that are made out of proteins, such as like growth hormone, intermittent IGF-1, I think's one of those, thyroid hormone, all the hormones that are protein-based, amino-based, are made with the help of proteins. Now, the other hormones like testosterone, those sorts of hormones are made with partially of fats. So you need a combination of protein and fats for all the functions in your body. Carbohydrates don't have any place really in that. Now, I'm not recommending any kind of diet in particular. I think the first thing to do is, number one, just improve the quality of the meals you're eating and eat more regularly. Don't skip meals. Don't eat a lot of things in between meals. If you really want to think about your sugar intakes and how that you're not storing fat, then eat your carbohydrates earlier in the day or during the times of the day that you're active, so that they're burned as fuel and not stored. And then your last meal of the day, or 2 meals of the day, depending on what you're doing, should be low carb or no carb. You can eat steak and salad, or vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, and get the calories and the things that you need for that meal and satisfy your hunger. And you won't be eating a lot of carbs when you're not active at night and sleeping. That will be stored as fat. So you say, well, I just want a diet. I just want something to do and a quick fix. Well, none of this is a quick fix. If you look at it, you talk about heart disease and neurologic disease and cardiac disease. Those happen over years. I mean, we're talking people in their 20s have atherosclerosis already starting. You may not have symptoms until you're 60, depending on what your genetic profile is. But the thing is, these are slow diseases that we need to take advantage of that time to do the best we can. The other thing is people say, I get so tired of, I don't want to just restrict my food. Well, when you look at it, you probably eat the same half dozen things for lunch and the same half dozen things for breakfast and basically for supper also. So getting on something different doesn't mean you're restricting the amount of, the kinds of food you're eating. You're just eating something different. When I go to the cafeteria in the mornings and stand in line to get my 8 boiled eggs, I eat the whites. If I'm contest dieting, I eat I eat 2 of the yolks or 3 of the yolks, and the rest whites if I'm just regular dieting to control the calories. But I'll stand in line, and the girl in the line knows what everybody's getting. She knows, before I even ask for it, she'll get the plate down and start getting my eggs for me. And I can watch her, the 3 people ahead of me. She basically knows, because we all eat the same thing. I mean, every now and then we eat something different. And if you look at what you eat for lunch, you're eating the same thing. You're eating at the same 3 or 4 fast food places. You're going down to anywhere that's like a grocery store where they serve food, or the gas stations where they serve food. You're eating the same things every day. And the problem is with the foods that we're eating that are fast foods, they're highly processed, and they're made to make you want them. They're made for you to crave that kind of food. They leave you hungry. They don't actually satisfy your appetite. They make you want to eat more food than you need to eat. And so, you'll hear people say, well, I don't want to take the time. It's a lot of work. Well, anything in life is a lot of work. I mean, you get up and work every day. You get up or whatever part during the week, you get your clothes ready for work. You get your kids ready for school. You pay your bills. Those are things you do on a long-term, ongoing basis that just have to be done. And you really just need to look at your health as something that's long-term, ongoing, and has to be taken care of. So we'll talk, we'll talk about diet and all that kind of stuff. But for now, think about what you're eating. Think about what you can improve in your eating. The number one thing I'd like to see everybody do is actually just get their protein intake up. Now, the recommended daily allowance, or whatever you want to say, for protein is like a gram per kilogram. And kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And it's kind of like anything else, the required daily amount of vitamin C or vitamin B or whatever. Those are minimum recommendations to get by. And you probably yourself eat more of some sort of vitamin or supplement than what the minimum daily requirement is, because your body needs more. Take vitamin D. I take, I'm not even sure, I'd have to look up the recommended dose, but it takes me 7,000 units a day to get into the high normal, which is where you want to be for vitamin D. And that's not anywhere near the recommended dietary allowance. So for protein, barring you have some significant medical problems with your kidneys or your liver, and you really need to be eating a gram per pound. So on a 200 pound man, that's 200 grams. You divide that over 4 meals, 5 meals actually, 3 food meals. You can eat it in all food meals, but if you eat it in 3 food meals and 2 protein shakes, then you're getting your allowance in. Women, if you're a 140-pound woman, you need 140 grams of protein a day. Divide that by 5, and go to work on your proteins. I carry my food. I carry my food to work a lot of times. My lunches I always carry and have something there. When I'm contest dieting, I keep emergency food. I keep a couple of packs of tuna, a can of chicken, maybe a can of green beans, something like that I can always get to and eat that's healthy for me. And you really need to plan your food. You know how guys, especially guys, us girls hate you for that, but you say, you look great. You lost 25 pounds. How'd you do that? Oh, I gave up my Cokes, and I quit stopping by Hardee's in the morning. And that's all they have to do. Me, I have to do 3 hours of cardio and weigh my food out to get that same effect. So, but the whole point being, you need to prepare your food or have a plan for eating good food, and not say, for example, we were out late last night. It was 7:30 before we left the hospital, and the girls were like, and these mainly young girls, but not all were young girls, but they're all like, oh, I don't want to fix something when I get home. I'm going to stop by Hardee's, or I'm going to stop by Jack's. I'm going to get something on the way home and eat. And that's exactly what you don't want to do. Yes, it takes a little time to meal prep, but you can do that in one day for the week. There are services that you can actually have food shipped to you frozen. And I used to get chicken all the time. That was low carb, just whole chicken. 8-ounce servings of chicken from the Chicken Pound. It was great chicken. I didn't have to worry about the calorie content. It's basically straight up chicken with a little bit of seasoning that doesn't have high sugar. Trifecta, there's several people that will ship you food if you just don't want to fool with it. Other people get up on Saturday or Sunday and prep X number of pounds of meat. You can put it in the freezer, you can put it in the fridge, you can pre-package it in the amount that you want, so that you can just pick up what's pre-packed. You can add your vegetables and things in with it, your rice and potatoes, whatever you're eating for carbs. And I had a friend that drove a lot for his business, so he would take a frozen meal and stick it up over his heater in the wintertime, and by the time he got ready to eat lunch, it'd be thawed and warm. And I was joking the other day, I said, I'm going to make a lunch, insulated lunch pack and put doc's place on it or age responsibly on it, so we can remember to take our food with us. But you can do that. Now it's going to take a little work, but you have to wash clothes a couple of times a week or once a week, whenever you wash clothes, to be ready for the next week. So you just have to make this as much a priority as washing clothes or brushing your teeth. And deep down, it's more than that. It's your life. It's your health. It's your time with your kids. It's snow skiing when you're 70 with your grandkids. It's doing triathlons. I know a gentleman in his 80s, he was doing 5-6 triathlons in the summer. Now he was doing Olympic distance, but he was in his 80s and he's swimming a mile, running 6 miles and biking 25 miles. And he was getting it, he was having a great time. He knew everybody on the circuit. So it's important. It's your life or death, really. So don't just brush this aside. Make it serious that you're actually going to do something. You may need a scale, you may not, depending on how accurate you want to be. But the main thing is just, number one, to begin with, improve the quality of your food, improve the regularity of what you're eating and when you eat it, and prepare food. Keep emergency food for surprises. And, we can talk later about what you do at parties and buffets and restaurants when you go out with friends. I learned a lot of good tricks from Weight Watchers. I don't do a Weight Watchers diet, but I learned a lot of good tricks I still use about going out. And talking about food prepping, I went to Germany one year, and I was actually on contest, but I wanted to go on a vacation. So I literally packed 50 packets, those tuna packs, the 6 ounces, not the little 3 ounce, the 6 ounces. I packed 50 packs of tuna in my suitcase, and I actually had to put part in somebody else that was traveling suitcase because it was so heavy. And I literally ate tuna and sauerkraut with mustard for a week. And that was tough. I was taking pictures of the food everywhere we went, all those European pastry shops and meat shops and stuff. I was starving, but, I was prepared, and I managed to continue on my contest diet for my show that I was doing. So it can be done, and it doesn't have to be that hard. I mean, that's extreme. But on your day-to-day basis, and you're going to, have days when you don't do as well, but just pick up and keep going. That's the point. Don't get discouraged if you're off, or if it may take you, 2 or 3 weeks to get in a routine, but you will get in a routine. You'll change what you're eating, and you won't think a thing about it when you're eating the same thing every day or every week. It's just like you do now. You eat the same things now. You just eat less quality food now. And then, there's times when you can take the treats and the social events and enjoy things off what you want to eat most of the time, 90% of the time. So as my friend, he's a physician, he's 86, and there's a picture of him you'll see it here in the blog. He's visited me a week ago. He's from California. They flew in, and he was looking for something in his suitcase. He got down, was looking for something in his suitcase, and then he just got back up. And here's the important thing, is see how he gets up. He literally gets up like somebody that's, 40 or 50 would get up. And so that's what we want to be. We want to be like my friend, Dr. Ng, and have a long, healthy life and enjoy ourselves along the way. So as he always said, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So that's it for today. We will talk more about diet later, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.